can do whatever we set our minds to if we do it together.
And welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm Joe Pinion. Well, the country waited 99 days for the first presidential address from President Joe Biden. Now we want to focus on the message within the speech and the delivery and the historical impact. For that, we're going to bring in our panel. We have former Nevada State GOP chairwoman and Republican strategist Amy Tarkanian, also former Reagan speechwriter Clark Judge, and presidential historian Doug Weed. Doug, want to come to you. We're dubbing this in many ways low energy radicalism, the kind of reality that this is going to be a great departure from normal policies. We're looking at the largest expansion of government possibly ever. Talk to us about how this joint session compared to other ones beyond the obvious that the joint session wasn't very joint because the audience was quite empty.
Yes, and this one's different, in my opinion, because from others historically, because it repeats a continuing pattern of Joe Biden. It talks unity while it simultaneously takes action against political opponents. You can't divorce this speech from the fact that the very morning of the speech, the FBI went into the home of his political opponent's attorney and conducted a raid. I worked in the White House as a special assistant to the president. Nothing like that could happen without a cover-your-ass memo all the way to the top. The FBI wouldn't do that. You wouldn't make a decision of that import at Newsmax without Chris Ruddy knowing about it. And the troubling thing about this is the third time on the night of the election he talked unity while he simultaneously attacked his opponent and called his supporters terrorists. At the inauguration, he talked unity while he became the first president in modern history not to appoint a member of the opposite party to his cabinet or any department. Even Trump had picked Navarro. And then yesterday he talked unity, even while he conducted the raid. The FBI conducted the raid to Giuliani. The other thing that troubled me about the speech is Obama blamed his predecessor for everything that happened the first 2 years of his presidency. Here's Joe Biden acting like Donald Trump never existed and taking credit for the first 100 days of everything that happened because of his predecessor. I found that just a bit astonishing.
We had Andrew Giuliani on the show this morning speaking about the state of the DOJ. I know you touched on that a little earlier. Take a listen and want to come back, get your opinion.
What I'm trying to get at here is this is not just a Rudy Giuliani versus Hunter Biden thing. This is a Rudy Giuliani and every single Republican that's associated with Donald J. Trump thing versus anybody on the other side of the aisle. The Justice Department has been completely, I was saying yesterday, politicized. It's really been corrupted.
You know, I think, Doug, to the earlier point about, the memos, it's inconceivable to me or any person with common sense that a raid on the president of the former president of the United States would occur without the people at the highest levels knowing, and the notion that it would occur on the very same day that the president was addressing this nation for the first time, it shocks the conscience to think that this was not, in many ways, a coordinated effort to try to fill up the news cycle with things that distract from the very real power grab that's occurring in plain sight.
Absolutely. That was a message. That was no accident. If I was running the FBI, there's no way I'd make a decision like that without getting a permission. And having worked in the White House, there are times when a president will nod or grunt or smile or laugh or roll his eyes to communicate what he wants done. But it's very clear to his subordinates they want to give him deniability. The president could solve many of these issues by just publicly saying it's not so. For example, when the former Secretary of Labor said that all Trump voters should be sent to re-education camps, He could come out and say that's ridiculous. When Katie Couric says they need to be reprogrammed, or Eugene Robinson says they need to be reprogrammed, he can say, no, we welcome people from all parties. But he won't correct anything. He claims that the vaccine didn't exist when he became president. He won't correct that. He has not publicly corrected it. CNN has still to this day not publicly corrected that with their audience. There was no vaccine when I became president. So these things are not happening by accident, and you're naive if you think they are. George Orwell wrote, they'll be telling you 2 + 2 = 5. And we're at that point right now. There was no vaccine when I became president.
Yeah, I think we need to remain cognizant of some very key points. Over 2 million people were projected to die from this virus by our own experts in the government. They said that this vaccine would never be delivered prior to the end of the year, and we were already on pace to delivering over 1 million a day before President Biden ever put his hand on a Bible. Gonna have to unfortunately leave our panel there. Amy, Clark, Doug, thank you so much. We'll talk to you all soon.
Thanks, Joe.
And Doug Weed, your excellent service in government at the White House and in the private sector.
I think it'll depend a lot on the president. And I went into the Oval Office and Barbara was there. Jared Kushner said to me,
And I've seen that all through history, they want cheap labor.
And I mean really behind the scenes, but he is respected by everybody. So he had access to everybody.